Feasibility analysis. A feasibility study is an analytical tool used during the project planning process that shows how a business would operate under an explicitly stated set of assumptions. These assumptions include the technology used, the facilities, types of equipment, manufacturing process, and the financial aspects of the project, capital needs, volume, cost of goods, and wages. What is feasibility assessment? As the name implies, a feasibility study analyzes the viability of an idea. The feasibility study focuses on helping answer the essential question of should we proceed with the proposed project idea. All activities of this study are directed toward helping answer this question. Feasibility studies can be used in many ways, but primarily focus on proposed business ventures. Farmers and others with a business idea should conduct a feasibility study to determine the viability of their idea before proceeding with the development of the business and determining early on that a business idea will not work time, money, and heartache later. A feasibility study is only one step in the business idea assessment and business development process. Reviewing this process and reading the information below will help put the role of the feasibility study in perspective. A feasibility study is usually conducted after producers have discussed a series of business ideas or scenarios. The feasibility study helps to frame and flesh out specific business alternatives so they can be studied in depth. The number of business alternatives under consideration is usually quickly reduced during this process. The feasibility study is conducted before the business plan. A business plan is prepared only after the business venture has been deemed feasible. If a proposed business venture is considered feasible, then a business plan is constructed that provides a roadmap of how the business will be created and developed. The business plan provides the blueprint for project implementation. If the venture is deemed not to be feasible, efforts may be made to correct its deficiencies. Other alternatives may be explored or the idea is dropped. Project leaders may be under pressure to skip the feasibility analysis step and go directly to building a business. Individuals from within and outside the project may push to skip this step. Reasons given for not doing feasibility analysis include we know it's feasible and existing businesses already doing it. Why do another feasibility study when one was done just a few years ago? Feasibility studies are just a way for consultants to make money. The feasibility analysis has already been done by the business that is going to sell us the equipment. Why not just hire a general manager who can do the study? Feasibility studies are waste of time. We need to buy the building, tie up the site, and bid on the equipment. Types of feasibility. Technical feasibility. These are this area reviews the engineering feasibility of the project, including structural, civil, and other relevant engineering aspects necessitated by the project design. The technical capabilities of the personnel and the capability of the projected technologies to be used in the project are considered. In some instances, mainly when projects are in third world countries, technology transfer between geographical areas and cultures needs to be analyzed to understand productivity loss or gain and other implications due to differences in topography, geography, fuel availability, and structure support and other issues. Managerial feasibility. Demonstrated management capability and availability. Employee involvement and commitment are key elements required to ascertain managerial feasibility. This addresses the management and organizational structure of the project, ensuring that the proponent structure is as described in the submittal and is well suited to the type of operation undertaken. Economic feasibility. This involves the feasibility of proposed project to generate economic benefits. A benefit cost analysis addressing a problem or need to the manner suggested by the project compared to others. The cost of different approaches to the same or similar problem is required. When the appropriate break-even analysis is also required aspect of evaluating the economic feasibility of the project. This addresses fixed and variable costs and utilization sales forecast. The tangible and intangible elements of project should be translated into economic terms to facilitate a consistent basis for evaluation. Even when a project is non-profit in nature, economic feasibility is critical. Financial feasibility. Financial feasibility should be distinguished from economic feasibility. Financial feasibility involves the capability of the project organization to raise the appropriate funds needed to implement the proposed project. In many instances, project proponents choose to have additional investors or other sources of funds for their projects. In these cases, this project funds feasibility, soundness, sources, and applications can be an obstacle, as appropriate loan availability, credit worthiness, equity, and loan schedule still be reviewed as aspects of financial feasibility analysis. Also included in this area is the review of implications of land purchases, leases, and other estates in land. Cultural feasibility. Cultural feasibility deals with the compatibility of the proposed project with the cultural environment of the project. In labor-intensive tasks, plan functions must be integrated with the local cultural practices and beliefs. For example, religious beliefs may influence what an individual is willing to do or not do. Social feasibility. Social feasibility addresses the influences that a proposed project may have on the social system in the project environment. The ambient social structure may be such that specific categories of workers may be in short supply or non-existent. The project's effect on the social status of the project participants must be assessed to ensure compatibility. It should be recognized that workers in specific industries may have certain status system. Safety feasibility. Safety feasibility is another important aspect that should be considered in project planning. Safety feasibility refers to an analysis of whether the project can be implemented and operated safely with minimal adverse effects on the environment. Unfortunately, environmental impact assessment is often not adequately addressed in complex projects. Political feasibility. Political feasibility analysis requires an evaluation of compatibility of project goals with the prevailing ideas of the political system. Political considerations often dictate directions for a proposed project. This is particularly true for large projects with significant visibility that may have significant government inputs and political implications. For example, political necessity may be a source of support for a project regardless of the project's merits. On the other hand, worthy projects may face insurmountable opposition simply because of political factors. Environmental feasibility, often a killer of projects through long drawn out approval processes and outright active opposition by those claiming environmental concerns. This is an aspect worthy of genuine attention in the very early stages of a project. Concern must be shown, and action must be taken to address any all environmental concern raised or anticipated. This component also addresses the ability of the project to timely obtain and at a reasonable cost needed permits, licenses, and approvals. Market feasibility. This area should not be confused with economic feasibility. The market needs analysis to view the potential impacts of market demand, competitive activities, and market share available, whether local, regional, national, or international. Possible competitive activities by competitors must also be analyzed for early contingency funding and impacts on operating costs during the startup, ramp up, and commercial startup phases of the project. Tangible and intangible benefits. Estimating benefits and costs promptly is very difficult. Benefits are often defined as tangible benefits for which dollars may be reasonably quantified and measured. Intangible benefits that may be quantified in units other than dollars or may be identified and described subjectively. Costs are significantly more challenging to quantify, at least in a timely and inexpensive manner. The minimum prices that must be determined are used explicitly to compare the benefits. These include the current operating costs or the cost of operating in today's circumstances, future period costs that are expected and can be planned for, intangible costs that may be difficult to quantify. These costs are often omitted if quantification would contribute little to the decision-making process. What is feasibility study? A feasibility is essential a process for determining the viability of a proposed initiative or service and providing a framework and direction for its development and delivery. It is a process for making sound decisions and setting direction. It also a process that it is driven by research and analysis, usually involves some form of consultation with stakeholders, community, and users. Focuses focuses on analyzing, clarifying, and resolving key issues and areas of concern or uncertainty. Very often involves basic modeling and testing of alternative concepts and approaches. A feasibility study is designed to provide an overview of the primary issues related to a business idea. The purpose is to identify any make or break issues that will prevent your business from success in the marketplace. In other words, a feasibility study determines whether the business idea makes sense. A feasibility study looks at three major areas: market issues, organizational technical, technical issues, financial issues. Why do feasibility studies? Developing any new business venture is difficult. Taking a project from the initial idea through the operational stage is complex and time consuming, whether from a cooperative or an investor owned business. Most ideas do not develop into business operations. If these ideas make it to the operational stage, most fail within the first 6 months. Before the potential members invest a proposed business project, they must determine if it can be economically viable and decide if investment advantages outweigh the risk involved. General requirements and potential benefits of conducting a feasibility study include developing any new business venture is difficult, taking a project from initiation of the idea to the operational stage is a complex and time consuming effort. Whether cooperative or investor-owned businesses, most pictures do not develop into business operations. If this idea make it to the operational stage, most of them fail within the first 6 months. Projects involve business operations that differ from individual businesses. These operations include risk of unfamiliarity. A feasibility allows groups developing a business idea to preview potential project outcomes and decide if they want to continue developing the project. Though the cost of conducting a study can seem high almost always, these costs are relatively minor when compared to the total project cost. The small initial expenditure or a group's feasibility study can help protect more significant capital investments later. A feasibility study is a helpful tool and is valid for many kinds of projects. Scope of feasibility analysis. In general terms, the elements of feasibility analysis for a project should cover the following. Need analysis. This indicates recognition of a need for the project. The need may affect the organization, another organization, the public, or the government. A preliminary study is then conducted to confirm and evaluate the need. A proposal of how the need may be satisfied is then made. Pertinent questions that should be asked include: is the need is significant enough to justify the proposed project? Will the market still exist by the time the project is completed? What are the alternative means of satisfying the need? What are the needs, economic, social, environmental, and political impacts? Process work. This is the preliminary analysis done to determine what will be required to satisfy the need. The work may be performed by a consultant who is expert in the project field. Engineering and design. This involves a detailed technical study of the proposed project. Cost estimate. This involves estimating project cost to an acceptable level of accuracy. Financial analysis. This involves an analysis of the cash flow profile of the project. Project impacts. This portion of the feasibility study provides us assessment of the proposed project's impact. Conclusion and recommendation. The feasibility study should end with the overall outcome of the project analysis. Characteristic of feasibility study. The purpose of feasibility phase is to plan the project development implementation activities, estimate the probable elapsed time, staffing, and equipment requirements, identify the potential costs and consequences of investing in the new project. A typical feasibility study checklist must include summary level, evaluate alternatives, evaluate market potential, evaluate most cost effectiveness, evaluate product producibility, evaluate technical base, detail level, a more specific determination of the problem, analysis of the state-of-the-art technology, assessment of in-house technical capabilities, test validity of alternatives, quantify weaknesses and unknowns, conduct trade-off analysis on time, cost, and performance, prepare initial project goals and objectives, prepare preliminary cost estimates, and develop plan. A feasibility report should have the following structure: executive summary, need analysis and engineering, advantage and disadvantage, market of the product offerings, customers, projects and services, competition map, costing, suppliers, location, resources, financial analysis, risk analysis of preferred solution, comparative analysis, and recommendations. Thank you.